a sip of coffee.
Here we are, and we are now live. And welcome everyone. We're in the Path to Abundance Facebook group, and I have my beautiful guest, Waleuska Lazo, is it?
Yes.
And yeah, so she is a real expert on gratitude. So what better person to interview on the subject of gratitude, because she's written her own book. She's done lots of other things, but one of them is writing this the blueprint, the gratitude blueprint book. And we'll talk more about that later on as we get towards the end of the interview. And yeah, so this is what a core part of the abundance mindset is having that gratitude attitude. So let's ask Waleuska now where she's calling from, where you're calling from, and just give a quick introduction before we just go on to our first question.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to people about the work that I do in the world. So my name is Waleuska Lazo, and I am logging in from Toronto, Canada. Although I am originally from Nicaragua, Central America. So I speak Spanish and I speak English, and just happy to be here.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
And
so
sorry, you
the
said
work. Yeah, no problems.
I'm an author. I write books, and I started writing books for kids, actually, and migrated slowly into self-development. And I also teach online. And I coach a little bit one-on-one on how to transform grief into abundance, into gratitude, into lessons. So that's a little bit of the work that I do.
Wonderful. And of course, you're quite an active member of the group. You've been from the day one since you joined. And I think we met through somebody else's work and somebody else's group. We both did sort of talks and were interviewed. So yeah, so it's been quite a long association. Not that I've personally known you, so this is a wonderful opportunity to get to speak to you one-on-one, really, and in front of our audience, our beautiful audience, in what used to be the Banquet of Life, now Path to Abundance, just to make it a little bit more specific, because I thought in the keyword search, Banquet of Life doesn't really say so much. So yeah, let's start off with the first question. So what has an attitude of gratitude taught you? So that's a bit of a loaded question.
Wow. I would say that it has taught me everything. It has taught me to take responsibility for my life, the life that I created, with all the good, the bad, and the ugly. It taught me to go within, to heal a chronic illness that I was told there was no cure for. But more than anything, it taught me to live in a path of non-resistance. And when you can live in a place of non-resistance, just accepting what life throws at you, knowing that if you were thrown that, if you were given a challenge, that you were given it for a reason or a purpose, and that you're not alone in it. So that set me on a path to peace. Not so much happiness, peace, because, happiness is a state of mind, whereas peace is what you should aim for. And that was my goal. How can I get to a place of peace in my life? So yeah, that's what gratitude has done for me. It's turned all the lack into abundance. Do I have everything in the world? No, I don't. No one does. But what I have is enough. And that's what it has done for me.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, because obviously it gives people, the hope, really, the hope, because if they're in a low place at the moment, just tapping into that, what am I grateful for, can actually just switch their perspective, can't it, in an instant, and their feelings. That's the key thing as well, how they're feeling in that moment. So why is gratitude so important as a means of overcoming our diversity? So I think we've sort of touched on it again before, but if we can go a little bit more into detail on that. So yeah, because superficially we can just feel a little bit better, but what is there a bigger picture to that, really?
Well, what it really does is, when you adopt gratitude, when you put your mind of developing the habit of seeing things through grateful lenses, what it does is just makes you more accepting of what life throws at you. So if you can get into the habit of waking up every morning and acknowledge the good that you have in your life, you really become unstoppable. Because the tendency for humans is to go towards the negative bias. That is, we notice more of the good, even if there's an equal or greater chance of good things happening in our life, right? We just focus on the bad and we tend to drown on it. It's that victim mentality that we love to do. And I was an expert at it, always feeling the victim. So, what gratitude does is when you become mindful that although over here there may be something that is not going right, but you don't lose sight of all the other things that are actually working in your life, it gives you buoyancy. You become buoyant to adversity. Why? Because like I said, you're not losing sight that there's just a few things that are wrong, but you have so much more going for you. So that's how I think that gratitude plays a huge role in overcoming adversity, when you know that you have the tools, you have the ability to overcome whatever life throws at you.
Yeah.
It's focusing on those lessons and knowing that life is always going to hide our best tools for personal growth in our most painful of experiences. And I always say that growth and evolution comes from pain. That's how we humans learn the most. So if we can just accept that and realize that we are going to learn something from whatever it is that we're going through, it makes you not drown in that grief, because you know that there's also other things alongside that are still good in your life.
I mean, I don't know whether you're able to, or you're in a position, or you want to share. Is there a specific experience that you would like to sort of share, but it's up to you, obviously.
Absolutely. I mean, how I stumbled on this whole work of gratitude is I was hit by a divorce and later by a horrible betrayal. And it sent my body completely out of whack. Like the body and the mind are really connected. And I had so much negativity in my life that my body, began to manifest all the hurt and all the negative trapped emotions that I had with a chronic illness. And doctors didn't know what I had. I went from all kinds of specialists, and they told me that what I had was unknown and there was no cure, and that basically I had to learn to live with it. And I didn't like that. So I tried everything. And it was not until I went within for answers. Like I stopped looking externally for an answer. And I thought, okay, if the illness began in my body, that means I have to go within to heal it. And what I began to do is I've noticed that my whole life was all about lack. I was in a constant state of lack, pissed off at the world for anything. If I was unhappy, it was my ex-husband's fault. If I didn't feel fulfilled, it was someone, and I never took responsibility. So I thought, okay, I'm going to just change the way I've been living my life. I had to be willing to let the old Waleuska die, to rebirth a whole new person and leave all those habits that were not serving me. But the challenge is when you're caught in the storm, you don't know where to even begin. So I thought, okay, I'm going to play a quick game. And instead of noticing all the bad, I'm going to force myself to wake up every morning and look for all the good. And if I can't find the good in that day, I'm going to try to find the lessons. And so it was a forceful thing that I had to do, because focusing on the good was not something that I knew how to do. It didn't come natural to me. And it was very difficult. But like I said, it was a challenge. Today, I'm just going to focus on all that is good. And even the smallest of things, the fact that I had a warm cup of coffee in my hand and, that it felt warm, was something to be grateful for. So the smallest of things, if I went to the shower and the shower was hot, it's thank you that I have, warm, simple little things. And a few weeks into it, I noticed that it became more natural. Today, waking up every morning feeling grateful for everything that I have has become an automatic because I have hardwired the habit of gratitude in my life. And now that's what I do. I teach others the process to hardwire the habit of gratitude in their lives. And it's a process because I've identified 28 layers in our life that we have.
Gosh,
So it's like of an onion,
peeling an onion, yeah. We get the
right?
same analogy in energy alignment work. Yeah.
And then, you go deeper and deeper and you realize more there still is to heal. And what happens is 3 months into this whole new way of looking at the world, I noticed that I had no symptoms. I was not in pain. So I went back to the doctor and they did a whole bunch of other tests and they said, it's gone. And
Wow.
you're ever since. So that was about 8 years ago. And so I started helping other people that had some chronic illness, rushes, and I started putting them through the same process and it worked for them. And I thought, oh my God, like strictly from this habit of gratitude. And it's not just the gratitude. See, from gratitude, you're going to birth all other virtues, right? So I always say gratitude is the mother of all virtues. So as you become grateful, other things start to happen in your life because when you're feeling grateful, when you are appreciative for what you have, it's impossible to be angry and to be sad and to be depressed at the same time. Okay, it's a known fact that you can only hold one emotion at any given time. So if you are busy playing with your mind, focusing on the good, you don't have time to be feeling sorry for yourself. And then, from that, I just began to forgive. I forgave so many things and so many people. And what I didn't realize at the time is that by forgiving people, I was healing myself, right? I was not
Mhm.
longer keeping all those trapped emotions in my body that were making me sick. And, the chronic irritation, if you think about it, it felt like burning sensation because deep inside, that's what I was feeling towards people. My ex-husband,
Mm.
or I had to heal so many different relationships. But from just that one habit of gratitude, I was able to fully heal my body. And
Mm.
that's what I credit, the happiness in my life, the peace in my life.
Mm. That's a powerful story, isn't it? And when you said you started going within, but what actually prompted you? Was it just the severe pain, and you just knew something had to change, or was there some source of inspiration, like a book
Yeah.
you read or a person you listened to?
Yes. So um, I come from a very religious, spiritual family. I'm Spanish, and I grew up with my grandmother and my great grandmother. They raised me while my mom worked, and I was taught to always believe that there is a higher force. There's a divine force always guiding us. That we're not alone, and that it was my birthright to ask for help. So I held
Mm.
on to that belief at the lowest points in my life. And I asked for help. I said, please help me. Like, give me a sign. Um, show me something that tells me that that is what I need to do. I was lost and unhappy and heartbroken. And I went to the gym that same morning. It was a Sunday. And I put my headset and I began to listen to a podcast. At this point, I didn't know who this person was. And it was an interview. And Joe Dispenza, and I know that probably and probably
Yeah.
your whole audience knows Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he was talking about disease. And he just said one line that transformed my life. If you think logically about a disease, it is something that starts in the body. So why would you think you need to go outside the body to heal it? And that was
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
I began to read every single one of his books. I attended, I followed him all over the world. Every conference, I learned his system. I learned to meditate. And through that, I've learned to only focus on the life that I wanted to create. And anything that didn't promote that life, I said no to. Right. So you have to be aware. And the awareness is where the work is. Can you become aware of the negativity that you tell yourself? And sometimes it's unaware, right? It's at the subconscious level. And can you become aware of that and say to yourself, is this true? or not, right?
Mm.
That's where the work is, becoming aware and interrupting yourself every time that I was telling myself that I was not good enough, that I was not loved, that that nothing was possible for me.
Mm.
You know, I was constantly focused on all the things I didn't have, and I thought I needed to be happy, achieving them, and still finding myself unhappy. Right? Because every time we go externally to find happiness and fulfillment, we're going to come out empty, right? Because we have this insatiable um, appetite for more, and that's
Mm.
the root of our unhappiness. So when you can learn to just focus on you and learn to love what you already have,
Have.
that's
Mm.
what ends.
Yeah. And it's the concept of I am enough that Marisa Peer talks about, isn't it, in Mind Valley? But yes, it is so powerful, and we forget. And it's funny because you say you have to die to be born again, and it is the resurrection almost within us. That's what we're called to do, because we're here to put aside all the past programming, all the negativity, all the focus on lack, isn't it, and move into abundance. And gratitude is our vehicle to do that, isn't it? It's a way of a mechanism to do that.
Uh,
Definitely, I feel that. Yeah, definitely. And that's why for me it's such an important subject to cover, and talk about, and why people need to make it, embed it. Really, it's a daily exercise in it, to become aware of how you're thinking, and
yeah.
does this reflect an attitude of gratitude or not? And if it's not, then what you need to do is changing your thinking, your feeling, to actually to embrace that attitude of gratitude. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
people think, oh, gratitude. Yeah, right. You can't
yeah.
for being positive. Well, you actually
You
can,
can.
right?
Yeah.
Because thought of gratitude produces a feeling,
It
right?
does, and it produces then the hormones in the body, doesn't it?
Well,
And that creates healing in the body. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
I think they say it's 1,400 biochemical reactions happen in your body when you elicit the feelings of compassion, love, care, gratitude for something or someone in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So my technique is that you prime your body in the morning as soon as your eyes opened, before you leave your bed and you grab your phone and you start to poison your mind about everything else that's coming in the day, is become thankful for what you have. The fact that you woke up, the fact that your legs listen when you want to walk. So,
Yes.
like, give yourself that time to prime yourself for success. And that sets you up for the rest of the day. Now, if you do this every single day of your life, that cumulative effect of waking up in gratitude is going to transform your life. Like, you cannot help but heal your
Yeah,
life.
yeah. Oh, wonderful. Such a powerful statement, that. And what is your mission in terms of gratitude and what you do as a coach, and how you want to move forward with that?
So I started helping people one on one, and I thought, it takes too long. How can I reach more people? And I knew that if I got out of that dark hole that I was in, that there were other people around the world that also needed help to know how to rebuild their life. And I thought, okay, if doing one on one is takes too long, I'm going to write a book. And I started to write a guide, a step by step guide that tells someone how to hardwire the habit of gratitude. And so I ended up with this book here, The Gratitude Blueprint. I don't know. Sorry, this
Yeah,
one.
we can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wrote the book, and then most people buy a book, they'll read one chapter, two, three, and then they stop. Life gets in the way. And I thought, no, that's not good enough for me. So then I took the
Yeah.
book, and I have an instructional design background. So I converted the book to an online course.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to handhold large groups of people, and I'm going to keep them accountable by going through the system together.
Yeah.
So I rolled out the first, we called it the gratitude experiment, and it was in November of 2019. And since then, about 2,500 people have completed that.
Wow. Wow. That's impressive.
Crazy thing, Esther, when I wrote
Yeah.
the book, I knew what gratitude could do at the individual level. It was not until I started teaching the online course that I realized I stumbled upon something
There's
that
a collective
I collect.
magnifier.
Oh my gosh. That was, I had to
Yeah,
go midway and revise the Kindle version of the book to
yeah.
incorporate that. People were healing because you see,
Other people were here
yeah,
and seeing it and
and
witnessing it.
others comments and how they
Yeah,
struggle, and someone may think they're the victim and they were not loved, and
yeah,
then somebody else's life and they say, oh my god, I actually love my life. So it puts perspective.
yeah, yeah. Very. It inspires you. Inspire each other, then, don't you? You just yeah, and know it's possible. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. That's what you can think.
And what I noticed is that just people were so willing to share, to be like opened about their trauma, and no one was judging.
Mm,
Everyone came together, and like I said, I used to offer the course 3 times a year. Now I only do it once a year, every January, and the course
mm.
is free. All the people have to do is just buy the
By
book.
the book.
All the lessons
It's
are
like the manual for the yeah, the course.
we have meditations that each person they do on their own. Upon waking, you get you get an email with all your meditations, but asynchronous, people come to a private Facebook group, and then we interact. And
Mhm,
every Sunday for 4 weeks while the course is running, I log in to Zoom,
mhm.
and I hear people, and they can ask me questions, and I take them through uh, challenges that they may be having going through the course. But the beautiful thing is that to keep each person accountable to complete the course. And most people repeat the course 3 to 4 times. Why? The lessons are the same. I never ask them to retake it. They want to retake the course because even though the lessons are the same, they are finding something in themselves that is different at every point, and they're
Yeah,
able to go deeper and deeper into those layers.
totally. Because you're awakening. It's a self awakening, isn't it? So as you go, as you say, there's multiple layers. So you're shedding one, and then when you go through the course again,
Keep
you
peeling the onion.
you're a different person approaching it, and with another layer to shift. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get that. So just to bring it to a close now, what three big takeaways around gratitude that you'd like to our audience to hear from you? Just to put it in a nutshell, what are the three big takeaways then?
Um, One would be that happiness it's a choice. It's a choice that you make consciously every day upon waking. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be and what do you want to gift the world. So that would be the first thing, that spend 5 minutes in your bed before waking, acknowledging all the good in your life. And the second would be that gratitude for most people, it's feeling thankful when something good has happened. And my contention as a gratitude coach is that that has nothing to do with gratitude, because it's easy to feel grateful when things are going well, or when life is conforming to your liking. But that's not what gratitude is about. What gratitude is about is finding the lessons and the gift in those situations that you deem bad or that we all want to avoid. It is about understanding that, like I said, life is going to hide your best tools for personal growth in those horrible situations that we don't want to experience in our lives. And it is up to us
Mm,
to not come out of hell empty handed, and to use our grief, to use our pain and our loss to become a better person, to become resilient and more grateful, and just appreciate everything that you have in your life. Right? And if you can learn to look at everything bad that happens as the seed of something great. Okay, so that is where the work is. How do you
mm.
uncover what that situation is trying to teach you about your life? Maybe it's putting a flashlight into something that still needs healing, and that's why it's triggering so much.
Yeah.
There's just always a message, and that's the role. So that's the work that I do. Is we go through every layer and finding all those points of resistance and lack, and turn them around and say, okay,
Mm,
may not have, you don't have to like everything that life throws at you, not at all. And
mhm.
gratitude is not about becoming oblivious to the fact that you are going through shit in your life. No, but it's about realizing that there are still a bunch of other amazing things happening in your life at the same time, and not to lose sight of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think one more, the last one would be that to attain happiness and peace is very simple. We make it so complicated. We think life is so complex and life is hard and not fair. No, life is. It's us who make it that way. And so happiness to me is just one quick adjustment away. It's just a matter of putting life in perspective.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you for those 3 big shares. So yeah. So just so that people can get more information. So what you're going to do now when we finish this, you're going to put on a comment below the video and give people the opportunity to give them a link to where they purchase it, or they just go to Amazon, is it, and purchase it there. And then how do you automatically track that so that they can get onto the course that you're going to start in January?
I put a link of where they can go register for the course.
Oh, right. It's in the book, is it? In the text?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
January 8th and runs for a month. So it's 28 days. And
Yeah.
you know, in a private group, so no one else can see what you know, your information.
Yeah.
And you with other people from around the world.
Okay. Well, all I would say is that I would encourage it for anyone who's out there, especially if you know you're going through some bad stuff at the moment and you're struggling with your mind, you know, your thoughts and your feelings. Definitely, this is for you. And also, if you just want to, you know, expand your life, I mean, because it gives us that expansion, you know, in our energy, and it makes everything, and we know we can call on a higher power to help us go to the next level. And gratitude is definitely that vehicle to ride it in, you know.
Not for the depressed or the person that's going through loss. It's for everyone. Just
just for everybody, just to amplify life, really, and to make the best of every moment. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Waleuska, and it's been a real pleasure to hear your story, to hear the power of your words, you know, and the real, it's such an important message to share, and for people to have that hope, that opportunity to transform their lives if they need transforming, or just to elevate it further. So thank you so much. It's been absolutely a real treat for me and for our audience.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I post the information on the group.
Yeah, lovely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.